When you don't have time for all those facts, when you don't have an hour free and need to be informed, take a listen to today's Morning Moment, coming up right now.
Here in the United States, we are alarmed by the new calls to adopt socialism in our country. America was founded on liberty and independence, and not government coercion, domination, and control. We are born free, and we will stay free.
On the landing ground.
Thank you for joining us. You are listening to A Radio, and this is the Morning Moment. We're on weekdays, 11:45 Eastern. Follow us on Spreaker.com and click on the like button. What we're going to play for you today is a clip from Bill O'Reilly, thefirsttv.com. Now, I'm going to repeat this statement because it's relevant. I see zero point of just regurgitating someone else's words when they can speak for themselves. I want to make this point. I get no money for doing this. No money at all. Unlike folk like Glenn Beck, Fox News, mainstream media, rebel media, anyone you can name. So all I'm doing is actually giving them free advertising. Thank you. You're welcome. In my mind, it's more important to get the information out to as many people as you can and not hide behind a paywall. Because if you're like me, you don't want to pay for everything. News should be out there for everybody. Or as in the case of the conglomerate YouTube, fine you, smack your hand and tell you you've been naughty as a means of censoring you, which was done in my case for actually broadcasting a piece from another podcaster who was actually fine with it. So we must all do our part, I think, to get the truth out there. Yes, the truth will set you free, and it will expose all the communists living not just in Canada, but all over the world, including the United States, operating in plain sight. I'm going to make a statement now, which is black and white. I wish the President of the United States would state this openly and publicly to the people of the United States. The Democrat Party in the United States has been taken over by communists, as have the Liberal Party in Canada. And what you'll hear from Bill O'Reilly is just a taster of things to come if Biden gets in. We're already suffering under the communist Trudeau, who is shutting down free speech in Canada. The first steps have already been done. The second and third steps are very close behind. Be in no doubt that your First Amendment, your Second Amendment, Third, Fourth and Fifth, just for starters, are on the chopping block if Biden gets in. We're already done in Canada. And I'm going to say something that might cause problems, but I'm going to say it anyway. The only saving grace for Canada is a revolution. I'm not calling for a revolution. I'm just saying a revolution is the only way things are going to change. Now, that revolution could come in many forms. It could be a political revolution, let's just say. But a revolution is needed in our country. There is building civil unrest in Canada by the communist Trudeau creating animosity between provinces deliberately. I speak of Alberta, by the way. We'll be following that in the weeks to come. But for now, I want you to hear this piece from Bill O'Reilly. He describes how the far left will pay for their wacky ideas. That is the New Green Deal, the Green New Deal, whatever you want to call it, it's all the same. And trust me, you ain't going to like it. Particularly if you're a liberal, actually, and live in one of those large cities in the United States and have amassed any form of wealth. It matters not which country you live in, by the way, because in the case of this model, which is the Soros model, it is in fact Agenda 2030 in action. Ask a Canadian, because they're living it right now. Canadians, thanks to the morons mostly living in Canada's largest city, and I will hammer Toronto every single chance I get, because they are the problem in Canada. They vote Liberal Communists every single time, because they think they're fireproof. Well, let me tell you, if what you hear here from Bill O'Reilly comes to pass, they ain't fireproof at all. And to my American friends, if you elect Biden, well, let's just say it's not going to be pretty. Here's that piece.
The most prosperous right that we have from the Constitution is the right to private property. All right? You cannot live in comfort unless you have private property. Can't. That's why if you go to China and you see how the people who are not elite live, they don't have any comfort because they don't have a right to private property. If somebody bought a brand new Ferrari, Beijing could take it. And maybe Cuba. They take it. The far left in this country does not want private property to be respected or protected by the Constitution. How do I know that? How many times have you heard from the Democratic Party, wealth tax, 2%, 3%, 5%. What's a wealth tax? That's a tax on private property. Okay? So they come in, the state comes in, evaluates what you have, what you've already bought with post-tax dollars. You already paid your taxes. You have money left over. You buy things. You acquire things. Government comes in and says, you have this, you have that, you have this, you have that. They add it up, and they go, we want 2% of that every year. So you got a farm, you want 2% of that. You got a house, you got cars, you got art, whatever it may be. If you are over a certain income threshold, and that threshold is arbitrary, could be $1 million in assets, could be 10. Depends on the state, depends on the feds. Government says, we have a right to take it as a tax. That's a double tax. Can't be double taxed. Not according to the Constitution. Congress has a right to tax, but not double, triple, quadruple, whatever. Every time they try, goes into court says no. If the left gains control of this country, and you're going to hear Biden, you just heard him, okay? He won't say he won't pack the court. If that happens, then all the stuff that I have, that you have, particularly if you're affluent, is going to be subject to the government taking it away from us. And it's going to be their calculations, not ours. They'll decide how much, what the threshold is, what stuff is worth. They'll decide. Can you imagine that? Private property? Private property then goes, bye. The government owns the property. They allow you to have some of it. You want to live in a country like that? I don't. And I know that Joe Biden won't stand up to the socialist communist movement that has to have that. You can't have the Green New Deal. You can't have socialized medicine. You can't have entitlements, guaranteed income, free college and all that without the wealth tax. You can't have it. We already owe 30 trillion. You want to owe 80 trillion? Then you don't have a dollar. Then the dollar just blows up and all the money you have in the bank disappears. So they have to pass a wealth tax. They have to confiscate private property to pay for all the far left vision. They have to. They want to guarantee income, guarantee a job, guarantee health care, guarantee education. Somebody's got to pay for that. And they're taxing people up to here now. In New York, where I live, it's insane. People are moving out by the hundreds of thousands to Florida and Texas and North Carolina because they can't pay the taxes. So who are they going to go for? They're going to go for the people who have assets and take them away. That's what this is all about. Now let's get it down to a lower rung, okay? So if you pack the court, there's not going to be any guns. All right? So the right to bear arms goes away because the left will say, look at that militia clause, a well-regulated militia in the Second Amendment. That doesn't mean you, as a private citizen, can have a gun. You got to be in a militia. And a militia is an arm of the government, the National Guard. That's a militia. You can't form your own militia. So you can't protect yourself with a firearm. And it's not a matter of AKs or this or that or clips or bump stocks or whatever. All guns. No guns. Can't have one. You got one, we find you, you go to prison. You go to jail. And we fine you like crazy. You think I'm kidding? I'm not kidding. That's the vision. Because if the citizens of the United States cannot defend themselves, they're defenseless. Not just against crime, but about the government. Against the government. Tyranny, you know what the word means? It hasn't disappeared. It's there. That's what Marxism, Black Lives Matter organizations, that's what they want. And that's what Biden won't stand up against. Kamala Harris wants that. Biden doesn't want it. Biden's just a puppet. All right? He doesn't care one way or the other. But Harris, she wants it. She was asked yesterday, would you stack the court? Wouldn't answer. And a non-answer is an answer. So I'm giving you the private property and I'm giving you the guns because they're vivid. You can picture it. But there are hundreds of other rights that will disappear once the socialist left starts to impose the big government tells you how to live. Now, this is absolutely true. Absolutely true. There's no, oh, it's not happening. It is happening. They say it. And the Democrats also say, we want Puerto Rico and D.C. to be states. That would be 4 more Democratic senators. And that would mean the Democrats control the Senate, wouldn't it? That's what they wanted. Biden wants it. Sure. Yeah. Now, that's not going to happen under our present Constitution because Washington, D.C. is a federal jurisdiction. Not going to change that. Not with the court being the way it is. But you have 15 Supreme Court justices on there.
You can find more at aradio.wordpress.com, where you can find links to us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Gab, Parler, Spotify, and email. We are continuing to reach out to you, so please pass these links on to your friends. Please click on the follow button on Spreaker.com. You can listen to all our morning moments at Spreaker.com/A-Radio. That's EHRADIO, a radio. And please click on the like button. Join us Monday, Wednesday and Friday, 11:45 Eastern, for our morning moment or tweak. And tell your friends, pass the word. We only tell the truth, not what the Canadian mainstream media want you to know. This time, more than any in history, we all need to trust but verify.